Hola, amigas y amigos. Welcome to the MíraLA Podcast. I'm your host, Arianna Lemus. This podcast is by women, for women, and anyone willing to listen to women. Enjoy the show. Isabel Grace is a woman-owned florist business. Aside from making beautiful bouquets for every occasion, she and her team plan events to help you celebrate all of your family celebrations and milestones. From baby showers, birthdays, graduations, and weddings, Isabel Grace is a proud sponsor of the MíraLA Podcast, providing all of our guests their favorite arrangement of flowers. In this episode, I interview Kassandra Gutierrez. She is a holistic health coach and a spiritual life coach. She helps people connect with their inner world and coming back into alignment while accessing new levels. Let's welcome Kassandra. Hola, amigos. Welcome back to the MíraLA Podcast. Today, I'm speaking with spiritual and life coach Kassandra Gutierrez.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so excited for our talk today.
Me too. It's so beautiful to, again, meet one of Brenda's really close friends. Yeah. You guys have known each other forever, and I love that. Brenda's one of my producers, and like I was just telling you in our pre-interview, like she has been such a light. I'm looking at you, Brenda. I love you so much. And just getting to meet incredible women through this process has been such a blessing. So MíraLA is my podcast, and I have been interviewing all kinds of women. So I would just love to know like your journey with your womanhood.
Yes, thank you so much. So womanhood, wow, that has been such a journey, especially, you know, we've all grown up in a very patriarchal society. And I feel like now we're leaning more into our feminine and our womanhood, and with much more like empowerment and being proud of it. Whereas like, I remember growing up, like I didn't really feel comfortable being like a girly girl. And now I'm like embracing it, you know, and just like having fun, just being a woman and just feeling so empowered by it. Like my soul chose to be a woman for a reason, and I'm going to have fun with it.
I love that answer. I love it so much because I think what I've been also learning along my life journey, as I mentioned to you as well, I have competed in pageantry for a really long time, you know, and that was like a way to express my outer beauty. But there's something to be said about working on yourself and the inner beauty within, right? So this conversation that we're going to have today is going to be a really powerful one because we're talking about both. We're talking about the beauty of being a woman on the outside, but the experience that you also have to go through on the inside. So being a Latina in the wellness space, what has that experience been like for you?
Yeah, so that honestly has been a beautiful experience. I tend to work only with Latina women because like we just understand each other on a whole other level, you know, that I can't with other people, you know, that are not Latin, of Latin heritage. And it's just so empowering for us all to start finding our voice because, you know, like our ancestors and even our mothers before us, they didn't have that voice that we now do and can, right? So it's been really beautiful to empower each other and to step more into our voice and to find our voice.
I hear that wholeheartedly. And that's why this conversation is so in alignment because like, that's everything that I'm trying to build with MíraLA. Like I am a proud Mexican American woman, and my ancestors and my mothers who have come before me have been institutionally enslaved, right? To a degree. This slavery, poverty mindset that our ancestors had to go through is a real thing. And I feel like our generation and the women that are growing up in today's society are awakening to the power that we have. Because like you mentioned, living in a patriarchal society has silenced women in all areas of our life, spiritually, mentally and even physically. So what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, 100. I'm like, snaps. Yes, snaps to all of it. Like, we are just in such a beautiful time now that now we do have that safety also as women to really just embark on that more and to really find our truth and our voice in especially a lot of spirituality. You know, I feel like definitely religion was very patriarchal, and now as I've stepped into spirituality, it's more about just finding what resonates with me and my soul and as a woman too. So it's just been just so beautiful to really step into my spirituality as a woman, honestly, has been very, very empowering.
And also like the element of shame and guilt that women have felt, especially like sexual shame, right?
Yes.
So talk to me about your journey when it came to like healing those parts of yourself and forgiving yourself. Cause you know, everybody loves to say, love yourself, but it's about accepting your past and accepting that there are versions of you that no longer exist and they were just lessons. I mean, at least that's how I've kind of understood it for me. But like, what has that been like for you?
Yeah, I love that you're bringing this up. Honestly, this is so aligned because this is exactly where I am in my journey right now, is really looking at my shame, looking at my past. And because like when I started my whole journey, like it was very much about all like the light, right? Like just love yourself. But like, how can you love yourself if you can't even like look at those parts of yourself that you don't actually like love so much, right? So that's what I've been doing a lot right now is that like shadow integration of looking at the parts of us that we have put away in these shadows because for some reason they weren't loved, and really looking at them and integrating them and loving them. And I think the biggest thing that has helped me so much in this specific area has been loving my inner child. Like that has just brought like, and I'm getting chills right now because it has been like just so beautiful for me to really integrate this part of myself and show her love. And that has helped me to love all of me, because it's like I was so disconnected from her. And then when I started to develop that relationship with her, I'm like, how could I say anything mean to myself? Like, she's so beautiful and all she needs are just love and like these words of affirmation. So I've really just been looking at like all aspects of myself and loving it all. And that's exactly how you said, like, that's where true love comes from looking at my past and loving it and knowing that it led me to exactly where I needed to be right now. Like if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have gone on this healing journey. And like everything has just been exactly how it is. And I love all of it.
So a lot of what you're saying is coming from a growth mindset, right? I think somebody who like were to hear that would probably be like, I don't know how to get there, right? So like aside from the spirituality side of it, you also are like a mental life coach, right?
Yes, definitely.
So to kind of talk to me about the mental aspect about getting to the other side, because it really sounds like you have found the truth of your truth, right? It may not be anybody else's truth. Like-minded people might understand where you're coming from, but there is a stepping point or a practice or some experience that you must have had that allowed you to see a different perspective.
Yeah, definitely. In my journey, that's honestly one of the biggest things that I have healed for myself is shifting from that victim mindset to this creator growth mindset, because I used to live in the victim mindset. Like that's where my journey began. I grew up with, I'm a Mexican American first generation, and my mother, some people have dad issues. I had mom issues. So I really just grew up with a mom that had all the stuff that she hadn't healed from. And, being a Mexican in America wasn't easy. And I felt like all her stress and just anxiety, everything was kind of dumped on me. And I am a sensitive person. I'm a sensitive soul. So we're different in this earth, right? We function differently in this earth. And I took everything that my mom said and it became my inner voice, and I just victimized myself. So that's honestly like the root of one of my journeys has been this victimization. I victimized and I blame my mother for everything that happened in my life. And honestly, for most of my life, I think until 27, 28, when I had my spiritual awakening, that's when I finally like snapped out of it. And I was able to look at it like that I was able to like see this victim mindset that I had been in for so long, and it wasn't doing me any good. So the only thing that I could do was heal and grow. And then that's how naturally, like, I just started to develop this growth mindset by taking care of myself and by looking at my inner world and just seeing my thoughts for what they were. And it's just been this whole healing journey to go from victim to growth. And it's been really powerful, honestly.
I love everything that you said, because recognizing when you are being a victim takes a lot of courage. That is now you recognizing, oh, I'm having an ego death.
Oh yeah.
What I once knew is no longer a reality. That's hard. That's some hard stuff. So going through an experience like that, did you experience depression, anxiety? How did that like show up for you in your life?
Yeah, so definitely had a lot of anxiety. I would say that I had high functioning anxiety, and I'm still not sure about depression. I never really went to a therapist or got diagnosed for that, but I think I never let myself be depressed. It was more like that high functioning depression too. Cause you know, again, I'm used to being like always doing something, and I'm only worthy if I'm doing something. So never really allowed myself to ever just wallow on the couch. I always had to be doing something. So I definitely struggled with a lot of anxiety. I had very poor mental health, very, very poor mental health. And my inner world was honestly a hot mess. Like if you could go in there, it was a messy house. Like nothing was healthy in there. Nothing was clean, anything. It was just a hot mess in there. And so that contributed to a lot of my struggles with my mental health and then emotional health as well. So yeah, I definitely struggled with a lot of that.
And then in that process, like how did you find ways to get out of that? Because I know for some people, it could be a combination of things. I know for me, when I go through like a transitional time, that's just like kind of, I have a cloud over my head. I'm not like my happy, lucky self, or like I try to be all the time. I tend to isolate, and I tend to just like avoid people and just like try to avoid any form of contact or communication. And then being in a depressive state, you know, you just tend to just numb, you know. But something that has been really healing for me on my journey has been journaling. And I don't know, like how are ways that you connect to yourself, but like writing for me is like so healing.
Yeah, definitely. Journaling is one of my top things that I use to take care of myself, and meditation. Those are like my top two. So when I had my rock bottom moment, it was because I was just in so much like agonizing mental and emotional pain. And I was on the floor in my bathroom in just this pain that I just wanted to like crawl out of my skin, right? And in that moment, I had remembered, I think a few weeks ago, I listened to a podcast, and they were like, your angels are always ready to help, but you have to ask. Because of free will, they can't intervene. So in that moment, like I didn't know what to do. You know, it wasn't physical pain. I couldn't go to a doctor. So in that moment, I was just like I started speaking to my angels. I was like, please help me. And I swear within seconds, like I felt calm and love, like just wash over me. It just felt like I was getting hugged. And in that moment, I got the message, like journal and meditate every day. And that's exactly what I did. And I just, since that moment, meditated, journaled every single day. And that's honestly how I did heal my mental health, and how I've been able to give myself a healthy inner home and a safe inner home is through journaling and meditating.
That's great. That is really beautiful. And I love seeing my fellow Latinas talking about spirituality and talking about ways that they connect with themselves, because so much of our culture is like to be of service of other people constantly. And I think there's like beauty in that and like being of service to others, but it's like you have to be serviceful of yourself. You have to fill your cup first. And that's why I love tarot, and I love like all of those spreads that, you know, beautiful people on this planet were gifted this gift to read cards and to help people on their journey. And I think that's so cool. I have little angel affirmation cards myself, and it allows me to also like question myself and trust myself. So along your journey, what are some of your spiritual gifts that you've kind of picked up on?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm just want to say this, but I love your aura. I feel like we're just so like, you know, just so on the same wavelength.
Yes.
But yeah, because I also love tarot cards. I do more oracle cards, but I've been feeling that nudge to start pick up my own tarot card as well. And yeah, I think especially like in a Hispanic culture, it has always been seen as like not, you know, of the light, I guess. But the more I've tapped into it, like the communication that I have with tarot cards is so beautiful. And as for my spiritual gifts, honestly, my intuition has been what's really been like shining through. And just my connection to people. I'm really good at like connecting with your energy and like really reading your energy. And then that allows me to guide my clients as a coach. I really tap into their energy and I help them ground. And then from there, I am guided to how to guide them on what their next step is.
Very
and
cool.
Yeah, that has been a really cool spiritual gift.
How many clients have you coached so far?
So far, 10.
Nice.
10, yeah. 10 12.
So you're really just at the beginning of this journey.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. I feel like the common theme with a lot of my guests is that they're starting their companies, they're starting their businesses, their programs. And I think it's just all in alignment with me and how I'm starting my podcast. So, oh my God, I'm like already so excited to like have you back on and to like see how, you know, a few years or time has passed and see the growth, right? I think that's something that like we as people don't really recognize, that like you got to start somewhere. You got to coach the first 10 before you can coach the first, you know, 30, 50, 100 people. And it's like enjoying the journey of it, right? We both just started something new. There's so much unknown and there's so much, I guess, fear one could look at, you know, being entrepreneurs. But it's like, I would rather gamble to fight for my dream and fight for who I am. And if that makes other people uncomfortable, that's not my problem. And also the how of like how I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do is also not my business. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand. So when you talk about wellness, spirituality, mental coaching, like what's kind of the feedback you've gotten from your family or different people in your life?
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So from my family, like they can just see how lit up I am by it. When I first told them like, oh, hey, I'm not going to pursue nursing school. I'm going to instead go off and become a holistic health coach. They were like, what in the world is that? And obviously they were having their thoughts, but they could just see how lit up I was by it. They could just see that. I think a light that they hadn't seen in me in so long when I told them like, this is what I want to do. And I want to help people before they get to the hospital, not while they're in the hospital. And my family has honestly been very supportive. The way that I've also helped heal them and guided them and been there for them, like they could just see that this is something that is meant for me and they believe in me and they're supporting me every step of the way. It's really beautiful.
Everything is created twice, once in the mind and once in the material world. I'm a certified dream builder. I made it my mission to share the beautiful work that Mary Morrissey did with the Brave Thinking Institute. I believe in sharing that knowledge will heal our world one dream at a time.
The most important thing in this world is imagination. It's so important to be connected to your vision. That vision is key to get new results.
I'm going to be 77. What I got out of Saturday was an opportunity to identify who I am and what I need. And it was priceless. I still feel that there's lots to learn, lots to do.
Wow. Let's do it.
Yes.
I'm really excited about hearing about your dreams and seeing you transform.
Talk to me about the people that have not been supportive about your journey.
Let me see if I can think someone. I honestly don't think they haven't told me that they haven't been supportive of me. if anything, I do have stories in my own mind, that I make up, like, oh, this person isn't being supportive, but no one has honestly like told me like that they're not supportive. If anything, it's just the stories I make up in my mind.
Or what about your intuition, right? You say that you're very connected to your intuition. So if you do pick up a vibe from kind of somebody and you can't really put your finger on what it is, do you follow that intuition, or do you kind of let your reality kind of play out and you have the experience of like, oh, it was just in my head? Or are you kind of more tapped in of like, no, I'm just going to follow my intuition and I'm just going to cut off this person? Or like what is your kind of ideology around that?
Yeah, so definitely. I think it's taken a lot of practice and a lot of healing to get to where I am now. And where I am now is I am more tapped into my intuition. And if I do get a bad vibe, I'm going to trust my intuition and I will cut that person off because they're just not meant for me at this moment. I've also been getting really good at like, some people just aren't meant to hear what I have to hear at this time. And that's okay. And that's perfectly okay. Yeah. And they're just, they're not in a place where they could understand what I have to share. And I'm just going to do me. And when you're ready and when you want to hear from me, like, let me know and I will be there for you. Right. So I think that's been the biggest thing, is just learning that everyone is on their own journey and I'm on my own journey and I'm ready to help anyone that is looking for my help. But other than that, I'm just letting everyone be in their own journey. I think for so long too, I wanted to control everyone, obviously, but I've just learned to let go and just focus on myself and my dreams, because I also want to fight for my dreams, and my purpose is so much bigger than anything else. And that's what's most important to me right now.
Period. Wow. Yeah. That's incredible. And it's just so great, to like have two confident women sitting here having this conversation, talking about alignment, enlightenment, spirituality, being Latinas, and like we have a beautiful like lineage of the people that we come from, but we also have our own stories to write and our own ways of being. And having the Mexican American experience, it's a very interesting one, the Latino American experience. It's like, no soy de ahí o de acá. So it's like, I'm not going to try to fit into any box because I'm my own box.
Yes, I love that you said that, because that's what I struggled with a lot when I was young, was that like, no soy de ahí, no soy de aquí ni de allá, and just like, where am I from? And that felt very uncomfortable. So I love that you brought that up, because you're right. It did allow me to be like, well, I'm going to make my own box then. And I feel much Mexican as I do American, and I'm just this is my reality. This is my journey.
Yeah, 100%. And like, even like on that like soul spiritual level, it's like, this is what my soul chose. My soul chose to come back, as a proud Chicana. And it's like, this is what being a Mexican American woman looks like in 2024. And I'm an entrepreneur, and I have my own voice, and I have a story, and I know the power of womanhood, and I know the power of using our voices to have these conversations. Because like, I think for me, a big part of like why I'm here on this earth is to really help bring back that feminine energy that for so long just, was forgotten about. Women in this patriarchal society have been made to feel less than, to feel second. And we see it, with like our dating culture and just like how marriages have not worked out and they're not working out. And that like, there's so much force and judgment that comes with being a single woman, talk to me about like your journey of dating, relationships, and like how you've come to like not only have this self-love for yourself, but opening your heart up to others.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that your journey is also to bring more feminine energy, because I feel like I'm here to do the same thing, but we're doing it in our own way. And it's just such a beautiful time to be alive, honestly. So my relationships, honestly, there's not much like to say, other than I have been in just one relationship my whole life.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's why I've only been in one relationship, and he's my high school sweetheart. We've been together since we were 14 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a really cool, beautiful story. And it's like, honestly, I feel like we just love each other more and more every day. It's insane. It's really, really crazy. Yeah.
Just one and done.
Just one and done. Yeah. We just got married last year too.
Oh my God,
yeah, thank you. But honestly, the most beautiful thing that's happened within our relationship was, we've been through it together, right? Like we've been through our biggest moments together, and it's been beautiful to always know that I've had him to rely on, and he's always been like my biggest supporter, and just the love that I've gotten from him has been so beautiful. But our relationship, honestly, it got even deeper once I went on this healing journey, and when I finally started to love myself, because for so long, I honestly hated myself. And anytime he would, any sweet things that he would say to me, like I couldn't take it in because I didn't see that within myself. And he'd also get upset, like, why are you telling me, like, no, you're lying, or, like, why am I like excusing like what he's saying, right? And it was when I finally started to love myself that I was finally able to let him in even deeper. And that has just like deepened our relationship so much more. And I'm so much more aware also in our relationship whenever something's not going right. I also look at myself like, okay, what am I feeling? What's going on within me? And it's just, our relationship is honestly just so beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure you guys gone through so many, like, how many years have you guys been together?
17 years this year. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So almost like more than half of our lives we've been together.
I know only like another couple.
Yeah.
Who are high school sweethearts. And it's so rare. And I think like what a beautiful journey you guys are on to just like find that person.
Yeah, I really do feel like our souls were like, yeah, we're doing this life together, and that's why we had to grow together to then now I feel like we're going to have some really cool big things coming up. So that's why like we had to be prepared for that and really go on this ride together and grow together for what our life is going to look like in this lifetime.
And how, like in your partnership, like how do you guys balance when one of you guys is maybe kind of not in the happy of a spirits, right? You guys live together, of course. And like, what's that dynamic like?
Yeah, I love that. So I've learned, I used to, like, if he wasn't having a good day, if he was feeling off or something, I would put that blame on myself. Like, oh, what did I do wrong? What did I say? You know, and that's how I used to be. But now I've learned to separate myself from that and let him have his bad day. Like, if he's having a bad day, like, who am I to tell him you can't have a bad day? Like, you have to be happy, you know? Or like, you know, who am I to like just change that for him? If that's what he's feeling, like give him the space to have that. I have just told him, just communicate with me, and our communication has gotten better. Just like when I have bad days, I'll communicate like, hey, I'm having a bad day. I'm going to need some space today. It's nothing with you. It's just something with me. And our communication has gotten a lot better, and he's been able to do that. So that has been really helpful for me to just like separate myself from that and being like, okay, just because he's having a bad day doesn't mean I'm going to have a bad day. I'm just going to go off into my room and, you know, just like do me and let him have his bad day, because he has a right to feel it if that's what he's feeling, you know?
And I think more men should have bad days in the sense that like, if you need to have a bad day to feel your feelings, 100% valid. Like we need days to just feel our feelings, right?
Exactly.
And like, I know it's more, you know, conversational to talk about women having their 28-day cycle, but men also have a 24-hour cycle that does not get talked enough about.
That's true. Yeah, totally.
So I'm just so curious to know about like your partnership, just because like it's such a rare and such a rarity and such a gem to like have a long term life partner. Yeah. And I think a lot of women could learn from that, you know, to meet women who have attracted and grown with another person, a man that is on that same level, because there is a level of emotional intelligence that a man in a relationship has to have. Otherwise, there is no relationship. Yeah. So how has your partner shown up for you emotionally?
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful question. I think honestly, as of lately, I have, you know, now that we're learning about our 28-day cycle and we have so much more knowledge now, he's open to to hearing me explain now how this whole cycle thing works. And now he's learning about it. He's like, oh, okay, you're in your luteal phase. So now I know to give you more time, like alone. And he's been really understanding how to emotionally be there for me. He knows that when I'm in my follicular, I'm going to be freaking a ball of joy, So he'll be there, and then he'll know that it will drop. Like on my period, like I won't want that much attention, right? So he knows that, and that's how he has been emotionally available. And honestly, I feel like he's just the kind of person he is. Like he's just always been there for me, especially, when I wasn't healed, when I was a hot mess. He would hold me through it. He would hold me through it, and he would help me, and he wouldn't judge me. I think that was the biggest thing. I never felt judged by him for expressing my emotions, whereas in like my family, I was judged for it. I was judged for crying and told that I was sensitive. But with him, he never judged me. And I think honestly, that was probably the biggest thing when I wasn't healed, was that I just never felt any judgment from him.
And without having no judgment, he created a safe space for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's ultimately what a lot of women are experiencing, especially in dating right now, is that they don't feel safe. Right. So I think there's something to be said about having certain conversations before getting into a relationship. Obviously, I'm sure the conversations you guys were having when you were 15 versus now are completely different. But I guess what would be your advice to women who are wanting to find a partner to be able to talk about their period and know that he's going to be there for her when she's going through so many hormonal changes?
Exactly.
Like what's your advice there?
Yeah, I think it's beautiful that not only are we learning about our 28-day cycle, but I feel like men are also learning about it too. So they're becoming more aware of that, which I think is beautiful. And as for the women, honestly, I think the most important thing before you go looking for someone else is to really take care of yourself and nurture yourself and love yourself and really just meet who you are. And that way, you know what you want in a relationship. And then you can also ask for that. And like, let's say you're going on a date, and maybe you can ask them if they're like emotionally aware, or like, how would they be there for you? And if they don't give you an answer that's aligned, then thank you, next, next person that is going to meet the needs that you want. So I think it's very important to spend the time with yourself first and understand what your needs are, and then go and find, Mr. Right. But I think it's definitely about first knowing yourself and loving yourself. I think that's the biggest thing.
And also knowing that when you do get into a partnership, you can ask for time apart. He can have time apart, or she can have time apart. Like, it doesn't have to be such a codependent experience. And I'm sure it sounds like in your past relationship, when you were younger, there probably was a little bit of that, and you guys had to overcome that, or there would have been a separation, right?
Totally, 100%. Yeah, before I was very dependent on him. Before understanding emotional intelligence and like being able to hold myself through my heavy emotions, I wanted him to fix it. I wanted him to make me feel better, And it was hard when he was also feeling upset and mad. He's like, how can I be there for you right now? Like, I'm upset. But I just wanted him to fix it. And that was very codependent. And now if we do get into an argument, like, I can hold myself now through it. I can, again, like, not make this his problem, and instead just ask for that. Like, okay, I need time right now, soothe myself. And then after soothing myself, then I can have a conversation with him and actually move forward.
Right.
And that's just come from me just becoming much more emotionally intelligent now. And not depending on him so much either, being there for myself.
And trusting your intuition.
Exactly.
I think honestly, this conversation was just a reminder for all the women listening to trust your intuition and self-regulate, know what your triggers are, get to know you, spend time with you, and your partner is out there. There's no need to force anything. There's no need to project onto any person. Love yourself, accept yourself, go on your healing journey, right? Because it's done wonders for you. It's done wonders for me. You got to start somewhere, right? So what would be, as we kind of close out our episode today, what would be your advice for a woman listening right now who wants to start her healing journey?
Oh, love that. This is a journey that is incredible. It is not easy. I think that's the biggest thing to understand. It's not rainbows and butterflies. And it's going to take work, but it is such a beautiful journey to connect with yourself. A lot of us, I think right now, especially with like social media and the internet, we're looking for the answers outside of us, but all the answers that you're looking for are within you right now. And you just need to take that moment to just step back and sit with yourself. And yes, it'll feel a little scary in the beginning and uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the safer you'll feel and you'll just get all the answers that you're looking for. It's honestly such a beautiful journey to connect with that part of yourself. It's magic.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you so much, Kassandra, for being on our show. We're definitely going to have you back, maybe like a yearly check-in or something like that. I wish you so much success, love, light, prosperity to you, Queen. And if our listeners would love to get in touch with your coaching services that offer, is it both spirituality and mental coaching or life coaching?
Yeah. Spirituality and life coaching. A lot of my coaching is that connection to self. So helping my clients connect back with themselves and, like you said, mindset, all of that.
Great. And people can contact you through Instagram.
So my Instagram is at High Vibes with Cass.
I love it. High vibes.
Yeah. High vibes. Oh, thank you so much for having me. This was such a great conversation.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the MíraLA Podcast. If you are a woman and would like to be on the show, go to MíraLaPodcast.com. Follow us on socials at MíraLa Podcast. Use hashtag MíraLa Mondays. And if you want to support the show, subscribe, share with your amigos, and tune in for new episodes every Monday. Muchas gracias.